One thing I've learnt is that quite often it's a lot easier to do it today than tomorrow. So you push yourself to do it today, because you leave it tomorrow, it's twice as hard. Yeah, so you try to avoid that situation. It doesn't work all the time, and tomorrow might be just as hard, but yeah, you don't want it twice as hard. I'm Ian Tinkler, a Vigneron of the Hunter Valley. And I was the youngest of the family. Probably got a little bit sick of opening and closing gates as a kid and wasn't that interested in farming, probably. The 68 bushfires was the time when I probably realised that, what the farm was all about. In 1968, October, I just finished last exam, my school certificate. My mother picked me and my cousin up at 11 o'clock. We come out here, and by 12:30, this raging fire come out of the mountain. So I sat in the cattle water trough with my cousin and my dad and watched this fire roar through the place. Probably was one of the scariest moments of my life, I guess. To hear the noise of a fire coming out of the mountain like that was, and I still hear it. That probably created the closest connection to the farm I probably ever had. But that was 68. In 1970 is when we started to plant wine grapes, and that's when I become involved, yeah. Just prior to that great bushfire coming through, my father had purchased his first diesel tractor, a Massey Ferguson 135, and that was probably the reason we started growing wine grapes, because my father had bought this tractor, and the wine company next door said, well, you've got a tractor, well, go for it. There's 3 of those old tractors that we can fix. We've probably got 10 tractors now, but we keep turning the newer ones over because we can't fix them. The first grapes we planted, probably some people will say are curved rows, and it's not easy to maintain that vineyard, but that's the first grapes we planted, and I guess I'm fairly determined that they'll still be going whilst I'm going. Some years it doesn't produce magic fruit, and some years it does. I've got a fascination of growing things and getting it to a point where it should be right. Disappointing when something doesn't work, but the next year you'll work to try and solve that problem. Yeah. As my father passed his knowledge on of agriculture to me, I've tried to pass it on to my sons, and they've been very much involved. I was the cheap labour for my father, and my sons were the cheap labour for me.
My roots have always been deep in the soil here. As my grandfather taught my father and my father taught me, you only get out of the land what you put into it. My dad Ian's one of the hardest workers I would know. He's also a great teacher and a great mentor and a role model. This will be currently his 52nd vintage on this property. He's a qualified winemaker, but his passion has always been in viticulture and growing grapes. He's always held on to that, and his knowledge throughout the years of the Hunter Valley wine industry has been very integral. He was involved in a lot of studies and a lot of trials in the early 80s and 90s to increase the amount of vineyards in this area and keep disease out of this area. He's been inducted as a Hunter Valley Living Legend because of that work and his dedication to the Hunter Valley and the Hunter Valley Wine Association. But really, as a father, I have very fond memories of just being with him on the property. Even if it was just riding around in the buggy or the ute, laying buckets out, going for a swim in the dam. Even if it was just sitting in the shed with him while you watch a hailstorm go through, and he's just sitting there silently watching another season pass by, and seeing his sometimes very unemotional response to the diverse climate we can have in the Hunter Valley and some seasons, and how he just gets on with things and everything works out at the end. Vintage is it's a hectic time of the year. It's very fast-paced and it all happens at once. You try and get prepared for it, but you can never really be prepared for how the season will turn out. A normal day in vintage can be up at midnight, machine harvesting from midnight till 6 a.m, and then hand picking starts at 6 a.m. throughout through another 6, 7, 8 hours, and then you might be going machine harvesting the next night, and you could redo that three or four times. It's a very, very short window, but it's the most important time in a wine's life, is getting it picked at the right time. So you're willing to put in that extra work and effort during that vintage period to make sure things are coming off at their most premium point. People think Vignerons sometimes are just enjoying wine on the deck, but there's a lot of hard work and a lot of dirt and grit that goes into getting to the success of enjoying a nice wine at the end of the day. When someone arrives to Tinkler's, you I think straight away you're enthralled by the scenery you're in, the century-old peppercorn trees and the mountains around you. The beautiful hardwood cellar door. As you enter the cellar door, you'll be greeted by a friendly Labrador, and then you'll probably most likely meet one of the Tinklers inside the cellar door. You're guaranteeing that every single wine you taste in cellar door has been grown on our own vineyards and made in our own winery. So we've been able to nurture those wines from planting the vine in the ground to final bottling.
I guess the first award I was awarded was the New South Wales Department of Agriculture had a local competition for farmers in the Hunter Valley, and I was awarded the Viticulture Award for that. 2009, I was awarded the Hunter Valley Vineyard Association's Viticulturist of the Year, and then 2017, I was awarded a legend status with the Hunter Valley wine industry. But my greatest award I won was the tractor driving competition when I was a 12-year-old at the Pokolbin Junior Farmers Club. I guess life's only what you make it, no matter where you are, and I've always had the attitude that, if you're going to do something, you've got to do it right. And I've tried to do it right all my life, and I can't see myself doing anything else now, so yeah.